Welcome to episode, we don't know what number anymore, of season 2 of Journeys in Fandom. Yay!
I don't think we're in double figures yet. That's really bad.
No, we just lost a bit of the count above 5, I think.
There is no schedule.
Old.
Yes, there's no schedule. We're not organised anymore, and we're both aged.
Very much so. And actually, reading some of my Facebook friends' comments on some of our earlier episodes, I think the best message was, "You are the oldest and shoutiest of men, shouting at the whitest of clouds." And we went, "Yes, this feels right."
Yeah, you kind of get to that point where you just drift into that role in life, so we might as well just embrace it.
Well, I think the fact we're both north of 40.
Yes, that's fair enough. Although I don't feel north of 40. Well, sometimes physically, but mentally I still feel like, I'm 20. I could do anything. No, I can't.
Yeah, the other day I was chatting to some friends. I said, "Oh, but I'm like your age," and they went, "No, you're like 20 years older than us." And I'm thinking, I could be your dad. This is it wounds you kind of right here, right in the soul.
Yeah, I saw a meme not long ago for wrestling saying 20 years ago in wrestling, picture of Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. Actually, 20 years ago wrestling, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And it's like, oh yeah, yeah.
Well, people keep looking at me funny when I say the 1980s was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And they keep telling me that I'm wrong, and that people born in like 2002 are now like 21. And I'm just going, no,
because I still think that World War II was only 40 years ago, but actually,
yes, it was.
When I was born was 40 years ago. It's like, oh no.
Well, there was another thing where bouncers are looking at IDs. They don't look at a date anymore. If they're 19.
Yeah.
And I'm just going, behave.
Yeah, it makes their life so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. We were it one day, and then it changed, and we're not it anymore. It'll happen to you too. Yes, I'm just becoming Abe Simpson, slowly but surely.
Drifting.
Yeah. What I need next is long rambling rants about things they used to be, and then get lost halfway through and start changing topic.
When you catch yourself not answering the question that someone's asked you 10 minutes ago, that's when you know you're getting old.
Yeah. So we're here to do a podcast, apparently.
Yes.
This is why we're here.
The OAP podcast.
Yes. Do we have any news, Mr. Tim?
We do. Fresh as of the 16th of September when we're recording this. Russell T Davies addresses the rumours, the conjecture online that he's erasing Jodie Whitaker and her era from Doctor Who. It is, to be fair, a pointlessly vague article from the Radio Times via Screen Rant, which we've got on screen here if you're watching on YouTube. Basically, in the latest Doctor Who magazine, he basically addresses her erasure and doesn't really say very much at all. Basically saying she's not been erased, but she's been erased, not been erased, in a really weird kind of thing, and then references the Snyder Cut and just doesn't say anything whatsoever.
Because I saw something, I think it might have been a quote or related to that article, which was saying about, for some people, Doctor Who started with an old man stealing a box, and for others it was some random child that was awful. I'm thinking, yes, one of these is correct, and one of these never happened.
I think it is interesting though that we've said it before multiple times. The BBC are doing a good job of keeping everything on the down low for 6 years, but the Doctor Who magazine is always a good indication of seems to be the way the wind's blowing, because I noticed during the dark old days of her final series, she was rarely on the front cover. It was Tom Baker or David Tennant or Matt Smith. It was never her. And also, any images that have come out related to Who recently on the official Doctor Who Facebook page or stuff, her era is not represented. So there was a meme not a meme, the thing today, a quote or a link to a quiz. I can't remember. I didn't click on it, and it had a picture of the new companion, Molly. What's her face? I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Catherine Tate,
Yeah.
Freema, and Billy Piper, and no companion from Jodie's era there at all. Jenna Coleman was there as well. So it had all the classic New Who companions, except for anyone from her era, which was just might be just a coincidence. But it is interesting that is it less about erasing the fact that they made a hideous mistake and more the fact that it's too soon to be kind of, because she's just left, and is it kind of Tom Baker's just left, I'm going to replace myself with waxwork kind of weird scenario where she possibly doesn't want to do it because it's too soon after she's left, and so she's purposely not doing it, if that makes sense.
Maybe.
It's all under wraps anyway.
Yeah, I think this is the thing. It's the unknown, and you get conjecture and speculation and all this stuff. And actually, is it so? Doctor Who, is it a job? Is it a calling? Do you have to accept the fact that if you do this, you are doing it for the rest of your life, especially now? And actually, like Tennant obviously did it, left, still was heavily involved, and then has come back. But is it? Does she want to be that heavily involved? Or actually, this was my time. I've done my bit. I've moved on.
Well, that's a good question.
Who knows? Yeah. And like we said, actually, the newness of actually, I've finished my bit. I've only just left. Let me have 5 minutes, and in a couple of years' time, yeah, let's come back and do some cool stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting because Eccleston, you can't. His was a special case because we found out he had loads of issues with BBC and there was all sorts of other stuff going on. So, and he's actually come back into the fold.
Yeah,
Capaldi said he didn't want to do anything, but he's a massive fan, and I can't see him not doing something. Matt Smith will be doing it, guaranteed. And obviously, it's interesting because her attitude when she got the role was to kind of dismiss fandom and dismiss the whole back thing, and didn't really give two hoots about the whole mythos of the show.
Yeah,
maybe that's, and because unless she's living under a rock and didn't get any feedback because her experience from the fans was so negative, maybe she's just walking away and said, right, I don't want anything more to do with it. Or alternatively, we come to November and she's in it and it's all fine and dandy. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think whatever happens, they've done it well, because obviously you've got people like us speculating of what's going to happen.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. Yeah,
and actually, you're generating hype by having no hype.
Yes.
Because you're going, oh, cool. This is here are your couple of teaser images. We know the Doctor's changing to what's his name?
Shooty.
Yes, Shooty. And we know that's happening, so we're all excited for it. And you just think, okay, so where do we go from here? So we've got a couple of teaser images. We've had a couple of trailers, even like short just intros. And we go, yeah, actually, that's all you need, because the fans will do it themselves, because we're talking about it and thinking, oh, yeah, this is going to be cool.
Yeah.
And
that's the best way to do it.
Has it been previously, especially like nowadays, where you know what's going to happen before you've watched it? Mentioning no particular companies, Disney/Marvel, where you just go, actually, I just want to sit down and watch a show and not know what's going to happen. And having 3 episode titles and the fact that a couple of people might be in it, great.
Yeah.
It's like, dare I say it, the good old days, where you just go, I don't know what's happening. Yeah,
before it's way before Whitaker's era.
Yeah.
I mean, it was becoming a leaky ship and you knew about every little thing.
Yes. Well, what is the social media you speak of? I don't know about that, but it's not been invented yet. Yes, come back early 2000s, all is forgiven.
Yeah, because I think the last time that I watched Doctor Who where I didn't know what was going to happen was when the Master came back. the story was kind of out there, but it passed me by, and that was really good. And ever since then, it's been gradually leaking to the point of what it's like, except for obviously the latter stages where no one was interested, so the leaks never came. But Capaldi's era, it was leaking all over the place, wasn't it?
Yeah. And like again, when they had like the effectively closed that down in Wales in Doctor Who experience, you could film all the stuff on a TARDIS, and that was bulletproof because it was all indoors and no one could get near it. Whereas there's so many leaks and so many spoilers, just going, come on, please behave. You'd almost seen the episode before it come out.
Yeah, I think that's it. And you probably, if you go out your way, you could find spoilers for series 14 if you started digging around. Obviously, we know Mel's back, but they publicise that because whenever they have to do the outside shoots, they have to show us something. So, which also proves the point that most of the 60th is going to be, like you said, in the studio, because we've only had that one series of outside shots with Neil Patrick Harris, which obviously we all know about because he's in the trailer, but the rest of it's been done behind closed doors, which is brilliant.
And actually, if you know you've got to do something outside and you've got a name attached to it, you use that to draw your focus one way while you're doing stuff over here.
Yeah. So we shall see.
Misdirection, darling.
Oh, good Lord. That's it. Is he erasing or not erasing? I think that's about the only news I could sort of siphon up. I suppose at the moment, because of the writer's strike, everything's shut down anywhere. So there is no news coming out of Hollywood or anything like that because nothing's happening.
Well, that's the joke. The news is there is no news. You've got this writer's strike that has been happening for a long time, and so it shows no signs of letting up. Didn't I see somewhere where hasn't some of the studios begun to like strike deals and stuff?
Yeah, some people have started to go back, and it's because it's not just the writer's strike; it's the Actors Guild as well. There's two things going side by side, and I think the Actors Guild one, unfortunately, is falling on its arse because they're what they want, they're never going to get, and that's becoming a problem. But mainly, it's the likes of Disney that are stoking all this up because of all their garbage that they're pushing out. And actors wanted to get paid for it, and it's just like, hopefully some of those weird and wonderful Disney shows will get cancelled. That we just some of the odd Marvel stuff that you just think I don't want.
Yeah, and I know a lot of things are getting pushed back, not because they can't things that are finished are being pushed back because they go, well, we've got no actors, so we can't promote anything.
Yeah, that's the weird thing that the red carpets are empty because they can't promote any films.
Well, it's like Brie from Captain Marvel. There's an article in one of the rags about her saying, she might not participate in any of the promo stuff. And you go, but she's part of the Screen Actors Guild Union, so no one's doing anything. But they targeted her, saying, she might not do it. And you're going, come on, guys, behave. I know you hate her, but leave her alone.
There was things like Barrowman was at a con America or Northern Ireland, I think it was, and he said for his panel he's not allowed to answer any questions about anything he's performed in, or I can't remember, there was a weird nuance that he could talk about this but he couldn't talk about some other things. It was a bit weird. So he said, I'm attending, but you can't ask me about stuff I've performed in, you can only talk to me about personal stuff. So I thought that's a bit weird. And then last night, sorry, go on.
Things like conventions, don't they count as like promo and stuff?
Yeah,
so
actually, that's it. Yeah.
Like the images used. So, you were in this. Can I get you to sign a photo of this? Show that you're in, because is that technically promoting something? And it's like San Diego Comic Con was just, it's a Comic Con now, guys, because there's nothing to show you.
Blink and miss it, and it went, and it's like, all right, okay, fair enough. And even The Rock's short of a few dollars, and he's gone back to WWE, hasn't he? Yesterday.
Yeah.
He just popped up, and you think, well, obviously he's got a clean slate now until probably Christmas, so might as well just go do it. John Cena was there, might as well just do it, because nothing else he can do.
Oh, talking of WWE, obviously the merger with UFC or the TKO entity, that's all gone through.
Yeah, and evil villain Vince McMahon was there again.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll look like that when we're older. with the pencil mustache.
Because obviously there's a load of articles about him saying he's had a lot of work done recently because he looks
it's
nothing
weird.
like he used to.
It's just because
hello, I'm Plastic Man.
It's just for years. Obviously, he's getting older, but for years he's always looked just normal, and then suddenly he had all these legal problems, and then he's dyed his hair black, grown that creepy 1930s silent movie villain mustache, and just looks weird. And you just think, because I know in America it's big, isn't it, about getting old is, someone told me once, in America getting old is a sin, and so there's all hair dye and stuff like Botox. But he's had Botox before, but then all of a sudden this little creepy mustache.
He looks wrong. And I've now realised that what we've done is exactly what we said we didn't want to do and go off on these tangents.
Yeah,
so we started with the news. So this is still the news, technically.
We're now talking about Vince McMahon's shaving habits. Right, come on, let's get back on track.
Yes,
we've been here for
podcast.
15 minutes. We've been talking about rubbish. Today we are talking about. Ironically, we're talking about Doctor Who, but let's try not to group it into this category. When should TV shows finish? TV shows have outstayed their welcome versus TV shows that were perfect and just right in length.
Yes. So it's a difficult one because, like, some shows, they appear, they have a number of good series, and then they go, yep, we're done. And you go, yes, we couldn't improve on this. Why would I want to change anything? Whereas others, you're thinking, God, it's 10 series in. Please stop. Please just let it die. Just end it now.
Do you think, I was thinking about this today when I was doing some prep, is it a symptom of the big American series? Because quite often I look at some of the British series and they finish and that's it, and you don't get any more. Whereas the American ones, because of syndication, the networks and the money, they do drag on. I don't know if is it American. It's difficult, but I think you look at the contrast. Our TV, as we talked about in previous podcasts, our TV show network's obviously very different. Whereas America, they can run for 10 series and just keep going forever, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's a difficult one because actually, if you've got a story in mind, do you just go, okay, so season 1 is this arc, season 2 is this arc, season 3 is the end, job done. And it's then when you go, but you're successful, so actually give me another season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons. And you go, but I've told the story I want to tell. Or you get things like Game of Thrones, because obviously that started, it became the biggest thing since tummy rubs kind of thing. And suddenly they've run out of source material and they're going, oh crap, we've said we're going to end it at this season, so now we've got to tie up all these loose ends. So actually, did they hamstring themselves by saying we're finishing at this season? Would 2 seasons have been better to give them time to sufficiently explain stuff?
There's a lot of things.
It's the flip side of the same coin, isn't it? We're just going,
Game of Thrones is unique in itself because obviously they were hinging on him finishing the next book before they got to the end of their contract, and because he didn't, because he was, for whatever reason, still hasn't finished it, has he? They ran out, like you said, of source material. So unfortunately, the showrunners were not very good writers. So for 8 seasons or whatever it was, I can't remember, 7 or 8, they were kind of just floating on his wave, and then suddenly, oh no, we've got to write our own stuff. And then I think they had a shortened final season, didn't they? Because they were offered Star Wars on Disney, and that never materialized. So they rushed it because they were thinking, oh, right, we're going to get Star Wars. Didn't get it. And if they just let that series run for a full series instead of 6 episodes, I think it still would have been rubbish, probably, but they could, like you said, explain some of the arcs a bit better. But yeah, Game of Thrones is a classic one where it was the biggest thing ever, and now no one wants to watch it again because it's just the ending was so bad that the whole experience got tainted. Because I was thinking the other day, am I watching that again? And I thought, no, actually, because I invested so much in that and it just got ruined. What's the point?
I confess, I've still watched half of one episode. I watched the first half of episode 1 of season 1.
It's good. It was good, but there's no point in watching it because the ending is so bad that every character you had invested in just is. There's not. I'm trying to think. There's not one character that comes out of it at the end looking good. They all come out just. Oh, it's awful. Storylines are awful, but yeah, I wouldn't bother if I were you. It was such a letdown.
Yeah. I think it does beg the question, like, are there any TV series we can think of that actually get it right in terms of it starts, it does its thing, it ends, and you go, yes, this is lovely. I don't have to do anything else. It's just chef's kiss.
I thought of one, Life on Mars.
Yes.
And then Ashes to Ashes.
Yes.
Life on Mars finished. They did one sequel, which was completely different, but the same style, and that's it. Didn't do any more. Didn't need to do any more. And it told its own story. And I thought, yeah, they could have done more probably if they wanted to, because it was so successful, but they didn't need to. And that was it. That's one I always say that one. If someone says to me, oh, think of a series that it did what it needed to do, and that was it.
Yeah, and actually, that's a really good example. That's a fantastic example. You go, yeah, it turned up, it did its thing, it was awesome, it ended. You went, yes,
and it also ended not answering all the questions, which was good because it leaves you hanging there, just going, ooh, but what happened to this? What happened to that? And that's all you needed. You didn't need to know, especially with it. If Park Ashes to Ashes, because they explained a bit in that, but Life on Mars finished on a weird cliffhanger where you didn't really know what was going on. There was so many different interpretations, and it's just and even Ashes to Ashes did to a certain extent. But it's just like, yeah, don't need any more. I understand all that. You can walk away from that, and you can go rewatch it, and it's still as enjoyable.
And then you've got other series. So if we flip to Netflix for a moment, and you know exactly what series I'm going to say, where they're going to end one season and then start with something slightly different with someone else taking the lead. So you got Witcher. Witcher.
Oh God!
Obviously, you've got Cavill seasons, and then we're now going to have one of the random Hemsworths.
Yeah, it's not going to do very well at all. It already, because they subverted the source material, and that's partly why Cavill left, wasn't it? Because he was getting frustrated. And yeah, it's the cash cow. I think they contracted to do it, so they had to do it, and that's why they've just replaced him with Thor Light, haven't they? So it's that way. I suppose this thing is like our friends at Rings of Power. They've spent a lot of money. They're going to have to do it now, and it's going to be around for a bit. But The Witcher, that's again beset by lots of other problems that are not related to the fact that it's the length of the series, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thinking there's always been generationally ones that have had really good concepts at the start that have never paid off well. So Game of Thrones, Lost. Yeah, really clever concept that just lost, no pun intended, its way and its own mythos and its own canon, and just got so up its own arse that by the end of it, I didn't understand what was going on at the end, because it's like, what's happening here?
And I remember, wasn't season 1 24 episodes or something ridiculous?
That was back in the day when you used to have a series break, and then another series, which was still the series 1. Yeah, that was kind of that weird thing where it's, because it always, I don't know if it still does it in the US, but new series always start in the autumn. They have a break over Christmas, and then they carry on right the way through to the start of the summer. So that was when it was 20-odd episodes. Don't get that nowadays, do you?
No, now it's a case of, here, have 6, maybe 10. Yeah. And you go, cool, that was totally not worth it.
Lost was just one where you kind of think, did they have a plan? They probably did, but it got so successful that the plan just expanded to the point where none of it made sense.
Because I know things like again, these are TV shows I have not watched. things like Supernatural, that TV show seemed to go on for like a million years.
I should be still going. I don't know.
I don't know anymore. And that's the thing when you go, is it still going? Are you still a thing? Did you end? Who knows? And you think, come on, a story needs a beginning, a middle, and an end. Because otherwise you've just got these long-running nonsense that just doesn't do anything, which works for, well, actually, I'm going to retract that statement. I think depending on the genre, it works. And depending on, so some genres, police drama, NCIS, Law and Order, etc.
Oh, yeah, kind of procedural shows, aren't they?
Yeah, those shows could run from now until a heat death of the universe. And you go, yep, this is generic TV. Because it just does its thing, it's a contained episode, and actually it doesn't matter how long it runs for because there is no story. It's just, this is a one episode at a time, guys. There we go.
Yeah, and you have like the story arcs that run through it, but quite often than not, it's the one episode storylines with the arc that just sits there. Yeah, things like I used to watch Hawaii Five-0. That was really good.
Yes,
and that lasted for years, but that was all kind of like
it's still going, isn't it?
Probably. I stopped watching it after a bit.
Yeah.
I'll have a look.
Because I know that's in the NCIS universe because they have their own like universe that all joins together, which I kind of love.
Yeah, and it's things like that where the story arc and the characters get replaced and it all just continues on and on. Yeah, the procedural crime, procedural hospital, procedural, all that stuff. The Americans love that, don't they? And so that's always going to get a series. So yeah, they're always there.
And then you've got oddities like our friend Doctor Who, where you just go, cool, actually every X number of series we just change it. So like Eccleston, Tennant, Smith, Capaldi, you go, actually these are all different TV shows. They just have a shared lineage. They've had different showrunners, different styles. And you go, actually, these, if you dissected them, you go, yeah, I can see where you started, but these are different TV shows, just with the same name.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I didn't think about that. Obviously, Doctor Who is the longest running, but I can't think of anything recent that does that, where they just keep the same character but just change things round. I think it is a weirdly institutional thing that no one else could dare to do, and not dare to do is the wrong word. Chooses not to do because the storyline lends itself to it.
Yeah, and the only ones that do that are things like your procedural stuff where you've got Police Force A, old person leaves, new person joins, now it's a new team. And you go,
Midsummer Murders. They did that in Midsummer Murders.
Yes.
They switched out Barnaby for Barnaby.
Yes. And Morse became Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We can't watch that anymore because of what's his face.
Oh, yes.
Good old Lawrence Fox. Oh, God, got to dump that out. Where did that come from? God, the left wing of this podcast just went crazy then. Everyone's entitled to their political reviews.
Yes. Everyone's entitled to their wrong opinion.
They swapped them out and it just continues kind of sequel. And Morse, Endeavour, they did the prequel, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
So it's the shared universe type of thing, but it's the characters that continues the story, keeps it going. I've not really watched Endeavour, but it's supposed to be good.
No. Talking of TV shows, I saw, or I believe, there's a reboot of Quantum Leap.
There is.
And I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't
because
like
Quantum
it.
Leap. Yeah. Quantum Leap was perfect.
Can't they find new stories? That's my first thing, and this is an age thing. It's like, just write new stories. Don't take the old stuff and just rehash it, because Quantum Leap was of its time, and it worked. Yes. And it's I can't remember the guy's name. Sam Beckett. It's the actor and the other actor. You can't get that chemistry sometimes, and it's just like just write your own stories. I know it's supposed to be a sort of semi-sequel to the story, but
because
Quantum Leap was Quantum Leap.
Yeah, because Scott Bakula, I couldn't pronounce the surname, and Al, who's the chap who plays him, I cannot remember. But that they hit that kind of the timing, the style, the relationship. You go, yes, this is bang on. And again, trying to recreate lightning in a bottle, you're just going, oh, come on, guys, what are you doing? Yeah, I saw an advert for it and went, why? Why have you done this? Why do you hurt me?
Yeah, it's every so often you see these kind of things. Oh, we're going to reboot X, and just say, no, just leave it alone. It doesn't need to be fiddled with. It is of its time. Just stop messing. Just write new stories.
Yeah. What else is there that's
I was listening to a podcast the other day about Heroes. Heroes was an interesting thing because that was actually had so many things go right and wrong for it at the same time. Because did you watch it at the time?
Yes and no. I dipped in and out.
So the first series was always supposed to be standalone. So after the first series ended, it was supposed to be like a comic book, obviously because it's superheroes, and they were supposed to introduce a load of new characters, and the second series would be a whole set of new characters. But because the first series was such a hit and everyone liked the characters, the writers were forced to change all their storylines and have the original characters in the second series. And then they got hit by that previous writer's strike. So they had to kind of stop mid-season half of the stories, and there's a whole really comedy bit where they go to a separate timeline and one of the characters takes his girlfriend with them, and then she gets trapped in that timeline and is just forgotten about, and no one ever speaks about her again. And it's just like it's this random occurrence. And then because people didn't like the second series because it didn't have the same like sort of theme and speed and excitement as the first one, they'd lost so many viewers, and they tried to ramp it up, and it all got really messed up. And then Sylar was never supposed to be a recurring character, but because he got so popular, they had to rewrite him into and it was all this mess of everything that they did well messed them up. And if they'd actually stuck to their guns and done what they said they were going to do, it probably would have worked out all right. But because they had to kind of bend to the will of the studios, and it's a really interesting model of what might have been, and the fact is they changed so many things on the fly because of the way that it was received.
Yeah, it's a difficult one where actually you could have the perfect show and the perfect idea, and you go, cool, I've got 3 seasons, and this is what's going to happen in each one, and it's just going to be this self-contained entity. And then you become bigger than Jesus, and you go, I want 10 more seasons here, but I haven't got them. There is no story to tell. And actually, if I was a writer, you'd be going, well, how do I deal with that? Do I just do something else? Do I just elongate this to infinity? Or do you just tell the studio, nah, mate, it can't be done? And it's such a difficult position, I think, for a writer to be in.
I've just thought of one that has done it literally recently this year. Ted Lasso on Apple TV. 3 seasons, complete story. We're not doing anything more, and they completely wrapped it up at the end and had a nice ending for every major character, and left enough to open that you just go, oh no, what's going to happen? But they did it. 3 seasons. We're not doing it anymore. That's it. Got really popular. Got loads of Emmys and stuff in the US.
Yeah.
And they've all said no, we're not doing it anymore because it's told the story we wanted to tell. And it's like, that's really good, especially in America. That's really good.
Yeah. But is that because it's on Apple?
I was thinking that as I was saying it. Yeah, I would think it probably is, because they can walk away and say, this is a contract we signed with Apple, we're not doing anymore. Whereas networks get their kind of claws into it, and it becomes this rolling ball. But then likewise, on the flip side, some of the great series get cancelled. And it's just like, ooh, so many good stuff. And he makes like 1-2 series. It really, really annoys me.
Yeah, because I know that's been the Netflix curse, hasn't it? You get a series to prove that you're okay. You go, oh, we'll have a second one because you're awesome. And they go, oh no, because of our terms, we've got to pay you more now. So that's enough. That's enough of that. Don't get how good it is. You're having 2 seasons end off.
There's a really good one called The Event, where everyone across the globe all experienced a blackout, like collapsed all at the same time. And it was this whole sort of story about this team that were trying to investigate what's going on. And it was really good. It had loads of little intrigue in it and loads of stuff. And then I got cancelled. So we never found out what happened to that. And it's like, oh. And there was another one about aliens and stuff that were hiding on Earth. I can't remember what that was called. Homecoming or something like that. It was weird. I only got one season. That was really good. So it's like, it just really irritates me when some stuff goes on forever and other stuff just gets cancelled without, because it's just not very popular on American TV. And it's like, oh.
Yeah. But occasionally, I think we're almost touching to our streaming services podcast now, was when a service will pick up something that has been cancelled from mainstream TV and go, do you know what? You want a final series or two to end it? We got you covered. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Lucifer was one, which I still need to get into watching the last series, which Netflix picked up. Is it not very good? Yeah, we got as far as the penultimate one, and then that was it. But that's probably one, as much as I like it, has, even now, I haven't watched the last series, did start to outstay its welcome a little bit, because it's a classic trope, the will they, won't they relationship thing, like Mulder and Scully, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Once they get together, like Castle, it loses the charm of that whole will they, won't they thing. And I think with Lucifer, it's the same kind of thing. They were running out of ideas, and it's like, how far is this going to go now?
Yeah, the last season is a season. There's some interesting CGI.
I'll push it down my list of must watch then.
Yeah, it's all right. It gives it an ending, and it is an ending.
Fair enough.
It's what could have been. But,
yeah, interesting.
What else was there? I was going to talk about something else, and it's totally left my brain. Reacher. Have you watched Reacher?
Oh, yes. Read all the books. It's the one series that's come out recently where I've just gone, this is, apart from some bits that they messed with the storyline a little bit for TV, I'll give them that. It was spot on, exactly how I would envisioned it. So, yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I remember watching it and just thinking, yes, this is, I like this.
Because, don't get me wrong, Tom Cruise's films were good, but he wasn't Reacher. And I know he liked the character, and I know he was the best in it, but Reacher is 6 foot tall, 6 foot wide. I'm sorry, Tom Cruise, you're not 6 foot tall. So, and what's his face who plays Reacher is just, spot on exactly how he should be. And
because it's a chap from Titans, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, he was in Fast and Furious, the latest one as well. He's been in it. He was Aquaman in Smallville. That's where he got his break. Because I sit there, I recognise you, and I can't work out where I've seen you. And I was like, oh yeah, no, that's really good. They made some tweaks for TV, and I can understand that. I let them off just about, but it's good. And I think the second one's going to be better.
To be a second season of that?
Yeah, they're filming it at the moment. They're not doing the books in order, which has annoyed me somewhat. They're jumping about a bit, but again, you can't.
Now, are they keeping someone supporting cast like what's her name?
Neagley. Yeah, the next one is going to be the one. I'm going to just search it. Good Luck and Trouble, I think it is, which is all about his. It has loads of flashbacks to his unit, and it has his Bad Luck and Trouble. There we go, and it has his unit in the present day. So I can understand why they're doing that, because they could bring her back into it, bring in the other ones, and it does more backstory. I preferred if they'd done it. I'm a purist. I prefer they'd just done it exactly right in order. That would have been a lot better. But can't complain. It could be worse. It could be rubbish.
It could have been the Tom Cruise ones, which were films, I guess.
Yeah, they were all right, but as a Reacher fan, they're not great. But what are you going to do? No, Reacher's great. They've done a really good job with that.
And so hopefully, if they keep, again, you can go with that procedural kind of cop drama approach to it. Because if you go, right, this is my season, my story arc is I start, I end, job done. So if ever they choose to end it, you go, yeah, it can end after any season because it's all wrapped up in a nice little package. And I think that's the nice thing about that kind of TV show, where you haven't got some big overarching fantasy teenagers kill God kind of storyline, because it's just a down to earth. Yeah, we have a case. We have 10 episodes. We end it. It's complete.
I think that's as well. To be fair to writers, sometimes is the expectations of fans are very hard to meet, especially when you get to the end of something. So Game of Thrones was rubbish, but the expectations were so high that whatever they were going to do was never going to please everybody. So it's always going to fall flat. I'm trying to think of other series that have finished and you kind of split fandom. And some people liked it, some people didn't like it. I'm trying to think of what other ones have finished. Lost was one, but that was just mad. What else? Major stuff that's finished.
Again,
I'm going to the Google.
Well, is it because there haven't been those kind of linchpin TV series? Because you can kind of name and go, actually, Game of Thrones has been one, Lost was one of its time, but the rest you're going, well, actually, they're either procedural stuff or sitcoms, or they're not that kind of thing.
The 13 best TV show finales ever, ranked according to IMDb. Oh, God. So there we go.
Oh, this should be good.
This should be good. Dark. German mystery drama. Ignore that. Never watched it. Friends.
Seriously?
Friends. The last episode of Friends. Yeah, Friends did. Again, a classic one where they just dragged it on as much as they could. Succession.
Actually, before we move on, Friends, especially now, people watch it and go, it was a show of its time.
Oh yeah. A lot of people complain about it, don't they?
Ross is a problem, and there are no. It's all white people.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
Yeah.
And they delve into transgender, don't they? Because of Chandler's. Oh yeah. You think about it. Yeah. That wouldn't fly very well in certain fandoms at this time. Yes. Anyway, moving on. Succession. That's recent. Not watched it. It's supposed to be good.
I've heard good things. Haven't watched it.
Yeah. Hannibal TV series. Yeah. Okay. That was okay actually. I remember that. We watched that. That was good. And you could see where if they'd done another series, how good it would have got. But I think they weren't given the renewal. Yeah,
but I hate to say it, because it's not an original entity.
I suppose.
How far can you go? Because you go, cool, it's a origin story, it's a whatever, because you know where it's going.
Yeah,
so
I suppose.
Yeah,
it was a different take on it, and I can understand.
Yes.
Person of interest. I've heard of it, but not watched it. Another one of the procedural sort of spy crime thing.
Yeah.
Chernobyl. That was the thing about Chernobyl.
That's meant to be good.
Yeah.
That's meant to be good, isn't it? Again, I've not watched it.
The Office. Outstayed its welcome. Big time.
Which one?
American one. British one, I'd agree, stayed. American one, when they change, and any TV show changes the main star, especially a comedy, you know that it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone too far. Better Call Saul. Again, I'll admit, never watched Breaking Bad. Never watched
Breaking Bad. Yeah, Breaking Bad spin-off, isn't it? Again, TV shows I've not watched. We're doing well here between us. Would like to see maybe one of these shows.
Mr. Robot.
I've heard of it. That's as far as I can go.
6 Feet Under. I've heard of that one.
Yes, that's the funeral director as well, isn't it?
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Ooh,
2008.
That's a perfect TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but actually,
a long time ago.
All joking aside, that is a perfect TV show. Because it had its seasons, and it ended, and it was self-contained, and now they're going to do a movie, and I'm not sure I'm going to be happy about it.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, animation and stuff like that. Speaking of animation, it's very topical at the moment. Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I've watched some of it, and I know people who absolutely love it, so I can't really comment. And I've heard a lot of people say the cartoon is better than what we're getting at the moment. So, yeah, fair enough. It's supposed to be some really good stories.
I think for me, it's Star Wars, and I just don't care.
Yeah.
I think that's my problem.
Sorry, Breaking Bad was number 1.
Not seen it.
No,
so I think between this, we'd seen maybe 2 of those 13 TV shows.
Oh,
we need to watch more telly.
Yeah, maybe.
There's more.
I haven't got time in my life for more TV.
Mate, that makes 2 of us.
I'm just going to whiz through these. I'm not going to do every one of these. This is more. Oh, Frasier. Well, that's now getting a sequel, isn't it? And that was already a sequel. Of Cheers, anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's have a quick look at some other ones here that I might recognise. A lot of these. Sex and the City. West Wing. Lost.
Yeah, that exists.
Oh, Justified. That was a good thing. I need to watch that again. I never saw the end of it.
What's that about?
Timothy Olyphant as like this kind of sort of badass cowboy hat wearing law enforcement guy who just it's the only TV show I've watched where the cop doesn't stand there and listen to the bad guy kind of explain his entire plan. He just shoots them. And it's his first episode. He stood there talking to this mafia guy, and the guy starts mouthing off, and he just shoots him. 2 seconds, the scene was over. He just shot him, and it's like, oh wow, that's brilliant. It's worth a watch that because Timothy Olyphant's great in it. What we got? Battlestar Galactica. Assume that's the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. What we got? Some of these things I've never even heard of. The Shield. Not to be confused.
Oh, that was meant to be good.
Yeah, these are all American stuff. There's not any English stuff here.
Yeah,
The Wire.
had yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's meant to be good, isn't it?
I started watching some of that. It's really good. These are all American shows. There's no English shows on here. Sopranos.
Yeah. Is that just a cultural difference between us and the Yanks? I
think there is.
Is it? Yeah. Is it? We don't have those kind of linchpin shows. We've got Doctor Who, Downton Abbey, Bodyguard. Thinking, I know a show that did a Doctor Who. Spooks.
Oh yeah. Changed the cast near enough every season except for a few of them.
Yes.
Yeah, and that ended really well. It ended. I can't really remember it, but I remember it was good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it also had Love of My Life in it. Sophia Myles was in one of the seasons.
Oh, she wasn't the one that had her head put in a chip fryer. No, that was Lisa Faulkner in the first series.
I can't remember. Yeah. But I love her. And this is a known fact.
Yeah, because that was the series where they killed off Lisa Faulkner's character by sticking her head in a deep fat fryer, and it was just like, whoa, they've just killed off one of the major characters halfway through. Then the British TV never does that. Yeah, no, Spooks. Oh, I need to go watch that again because that was really good.
Yeah,
there's some really good stuff out there like that.
Because when we're saying, no one really kind of changes it every couple of seasons. Well, actually, Spooks kind of did, but you then had like long arc character like Harry, who was
he was in it all the time, wasn't he? All the way through.
Yeah, and he was a badass.
Yeah, no, that's a good one, Spooks. I'm just looking at this list here. Blackadder.
Oh.
Series finale.
Actually.
Yeah.
But also, they Doctor Who'd it.
Yep.
But in a different way, because obviously, each season was, this is what we're doing.
It's not technically a farewell because it's come back for a film, but Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
Because I love Peaky Blinders. I watched that last year. It's amazing. But they're doing a film to kind of wrap it all up anyway, so that doesn't really count. But that's the only two on this list. All the rest are American again. But I count life on Mars.
Perhaps that is the difference between us and the States, that we just don't have that commitment to telly. Because obviously we've got British institution shows,
but not event TV like America does.
Yeah, and we don't have those kind of long running. We have soap operas, and they have procedural drama.
We have The Archers, and they have
Yes,
it's true. That's kind of it. I think that's it. It's interesting that RTV is different, and we don't have those monster running series that last forever.
Except Doctor
Who. Yeah. I think that's. I don't think we could go any further than that, really, can we?
Yeah, I think we've kind of hit the nail nicely on the head there. We started off with a proper Abe Simpson kind of meandering anecdote / rant / we got lost in a read real bad. Yeah. We then brought it back and talked about telly, and then we slagged off that Muppet, and then we talked about the Americans for a bit.
Yeah, landed on a nice conclusion there. So, as always, opening up the questions: what TV shows, listeners, viewers, podcast people, do you think had good finales, bad finales, and that could have done with something, could have continued on a bit further than it had done? If that makes sense. And
in your opinion, what is kind of the perfect TV series? Like, is there one that you just go, yes, this was it, this was the one?
Ooh, yeah,
could not be improved, no notes kind of thing.
I'm going to think about that. Yeah. I'll come back next time with what is the best TV series ever.
Batman animated series.
Yeah, go with that.
Yeah, I think it'll take some topping. You're not convinced?
I don't know. Does it count as a TV series? That's my instinct is saying it's a cartoon.
I'm counting it.
Yeah, no, but to be fair, it is good. Don't get me wrong, it is good.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to go away and think about that.
So yes, on that note, listeners and viewers and podcast persons, I think we've exhausted our time here, run out of things to say, and
we never run out of things to say. We'll keep talking forever.
I think this is true. We think of things to say, and then we go off on a random tangent.
So, about Vince McMahon's moustache. No, we must go now. We must go. Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. So, I think that's it from this episode of Old Men Shout at Clouds.
Yes. Until next time, it's cheerio from me.
And goodbye from me.